Hi, everybody. I forgot to do the countdown. So we are started. We are
We're here
started.
now.
We are here. It's been a bit of a different start today. We've had people running a bit late and doing other things, and that's all fine. I think that everyone is really occupied about before the North London Derby. So it's a very exciting day to podcast, and we are top of the log, and we're about to play our biggest rivals, and they haven't beaten us. We've won 19 out of the. I think we've drawn 6 and lost only once to them at the Emirates since we've been at the Emirates. We've won 19, we've drawn 6, and we've lost 1. So we have a very good record against them. So things are looking good, but we'll jump into that a bit later. We're first going to do a review of the last 2 games since we last had our podcast. And that is Slavia Prague game, where we had us winning 3-0 away. And I just want to get the stats from Scott Willis or Cannon Stats on Twitter. But in the meantime, while I'm getting that, Michael, what was your thoughts on the game?
So I think I was watching this game with kind of one eye. It was an interesting start to the game. I think we struggled a bit since Gyökeres has been out. I think you can I know there was a lot of criticism about him not scoring too many goals, but I think when you see us play without him up front, the difference is pretty clear as to how much he ties up the back lines. So I think it was pretty even to start off with. And the penalty helped us quite a bit to actually get into the game and start to settle into things. I think it turned out to be a pretty good result, but I think it could have been a bit more tricky if we didn't get that penalty.
Yeah, I think that's true. I mean, it was a tough ground to go to, a tough away ground with they'd, I think, been doing very well, even though it's the Czech league, they'd been doing very well all season. So, and I think even in the Champions League, they actually had not been doing that great, but I think they hadn't lost at home since like 2024, something like that. So it wasn't going to be easy, but obviously we have the quality to do well there. And yeah, we did the job. As you said, the penalty was key. And then the other 2 goals, what did you think of the other 2 goals?
I think this Marina up front thing, we gotta we gotta take it seriously. This guy, I don't know I don't know what to make of him, because in midfield I feel like he's pretty underwhelming, but he gets into really good positions up front and he's got that finishing touch. He's clinical. So two pretty good finishes from him. The first one especially a really good first time finish, and the second one as well, just to kind of glance it over the goalkeeper. Very good finishes, and I think he's been in that kind of form where his touch is turning to gold. So I don't know. It's difficult for me because I guess there's a question of, should he actually be starting up front like normally? Because when he has these kind of opportunities, he seems to know where the back of the net is. But I don't know what your guys' thoughts on that are.
It's a good question. I think it's a good question. What do you think, Renai? What do you think about world-class Mikel Marino? I know you're a big fan.
I mean, I I strongly think that he is a world class player, given that he is able to adapt however way you wanna use it. You wanna use him, and it turns out whenever we call him out to come and fill the gap of being a striker, he does phenomenally well. I mean, the later part of last season, I mean, he was even outscoring natural strikers in the league. So I think it's not a coincidence that he constantly has those type of performances. So I think it's a thing where given that he always deliver, I think tactically, even when we are starting him as a mid, we can be able to make changes and shape up in a way in which it allows him to go up front, especially whenever we are chasing results or we are desperately looking for a goal. I think versatility is one that we should be very, very, very happy to have because it solves a lot of issues as far as our goal scoring opportunities are concerned. So I think just by the virtue of him being able to adapt and adapt very well, especially where we need goals, I think it speaks to his quality.
Definitely. I just want to bring up the stats because I found them. I've been looking for them for the match, and we had a XG of 1.8. We scored 3 goals and had an XG of 0.4. So we really did dominate them. And I just want to share my screen, and then we can discuss them. Share screen and share. Okay. So can you see it? Can you see the
Yeah.
stat?
Yeah, we can see it now.
Yes.
So we had good possession. We had better field tilt, so we've had good possession and field tilt in most of our games this season. It was another game where we had a clean sheet, and as you can see, they really didn't have a threat most of the game. So we did well. Here's the XG and where the shots were taken, and here's the field tilt. So they had moments in. They actually started well in the first half, and I think we thought we would thrash them more when we scored those 2 goals in the first half. Because normally when we score 2 goals against teams, they then tend to open up, and then we attack them on the counter and get more goals. But it's now been, I think it was the Palace game as well, where we scored in the first half, and we didn't really open up. Like Palace just stayed compact. They like almost didn't want to lose on bad goal difference. So teams are not even opening up when they're chasing a game against us, which is interesting. That's how scared they are of us. What's your thoughts on that, Renai?
I mean, think about it this way. I think it's not even an issue of us scoring as much as we have, but allowing us to score would simply means that chances are the game is wrapped because as much as we are scoring goals, we are very difficult to score against. If you can check their XG there of the opportunities that we are allowing them, it's little to no opportunities. So I think the thinking a lot might be in a sense where should they concede, they are now in much more trouble than they are in if we do not score. Because I think chances of getting a draw if we don't score versus the chances of them changing the game and coming up and scoring goals would become a mountain to climb. Because now, if we score first, it simply means that you need to now go and try and make something happen. And that's when you are even opening up more to end up being in a situation wherein we'll end up putting 3-4 past you because of the way in which you will allow us to be fluid in how we are approaching the game. So I think the key secret so far has been our defense. I mean, it's unheard of that you find teams that are not even conceding goals on shots on target. So I think the thinking with which a lot of coaches are approaching our games is let us not concede against them. We can try and catch them on counter or set piece or whatever, but we just cannot afford them to go up first because chances of us getting back in the game is pretty much close to none, given how compact our defense is.
And no, those are good points. What are your thoughts on? I just want to come to the point about Saka scoring, and he's had a lot of goals in the UCL since he's been in the UCL now 2.2 or 2.3 seasons. Is he had a quiet season up until now, and then he scored against Sunderland as well. So are you happier with his performances, or how are you guys feeling about Saka? Because I did post a stat in the one group about him not having many assists lately. What's your thoughts on his performance this season so far? And do you think Madueke will probably push him for that starting position because his form has been a bit off this season? What's your thoughts on Saka, guys? Michael, you can go.
Okay. Yeah, so like you said, a couple of goals in the week or a couple of weeks ago. I think I commented in the group as well. I feel like maybe it might be good for him to play a few minutes or a few more minutes more centrally for us. I feel like with Odegaard missing, that maybe he could contribute something from that position just to freshen things up a little bit. I do feel like he has something to give in that kind of area. But I think also we got to think about the fact that the team is a bit more balanced this season than we were definitely last season. We have much more threat on the left. Callum's doing really well, I think, this season. Going forward, also opening up space on the left. It's a real pity about Martinelli getting injured when he did. And also Eze performing closer to the left side this season. But I think Saka personally, when I do see him isolated on the right, he's struggled a bit this season. And I know when we saw him really like at his best, that trio of him, Odegaard, and Ben White were together, and now we're missing Odegaard and Ben White. So out of those three, it's just really him doing that. And I think Zubimendi as well doesn't really push up on the right that much.
Yeah.
And so I think maybe that's contributed to him being isolated. But I do think that we do need to try and get him on the ball a bit more than we are. Like I said, it's not bad that we're as balanced as we are, but he is our star boy. He's our danger man. And when we get him on the ball, he can make things happen.
We're not platforming him like we used to, but I think we were over platforming him in 22, 23, and 23, 24. And then when Ben White got injured, his numbers went down. When Odegaard got injured, his numbers went down. So as you said, it is a pod that has been affected. But I think that also the other thing that I heard an analyst say is that Eze pops up more centrally where Odegaard shifts more to the right. So Eze, like the way where he scored that Palace goal, was a central position, and where Odegaard would be doing combinations with Saka and White on the right. Timber's been doing very well to support Saka, so I think Timber's been playing
fantastic. For me personally, I think he's been my player of the season so far. He's been extraordinary, both in defense and attack. He's so solid. He wins the ball back. He barely ever loses it, and he recovers into his position really quickly. So yeah, I've been so impressed by him on the right. I feel bad for Ben White in the sense in that I don't think he deserved to be dropped as he was, because he really did put in a shift for us in the time that he had that chance to do it. But I don't know. I just feel like Timber is another level.
Yeah, I think it's injuries though. I think Ben White, we overplayed in 23-24 and in 22-23. Because Timber was meant to come in 23-24 and play more and rotate with White and rotate with Saliba, but we couldn't do that because of his ACL. So it's unfortunate, but I think Ben White will come back, and I actually have a feeling he might pop up in midfield. I know that maybe because of the injury, he doesn't have the pace to perform at right back, but I think he could pop up as a DM. So we'll see. Let's see where that goes. And just remember, guys, to like, comment, and subscribe. We want to interact with your comments so that we can hear what's your thoughts from a South African perspective on Arsenal. Let's go to the Sunderland game and have a look at that. And so we obviously had it was kind of titled as like Arsenal versus Xhaka and his return to the Premier League. And Sunderland have been doing so well, and he's been one of the best signings of the season. And it was a very, especially in the first half, they were all over us. I think I must say that their goal was, I don't think it was fair. I think Zubamendi got the ball, so I think they shouldn't have had that free kick anyway to get the Ballard goal. So we were worried about Shaka scoring against us, and then another ex-Arsenal player scored against us. So it's funny how players always score against their old team. Anyway, but Ballard did have a good game. He was defending like crazy. I mean, they were all defending very well, the Sunderland team. They were very physical. So what's your thoughts, Renai, on the Sunderland game, and who were your standout performees from that game?
It was a mixed bag, in the sense that I can even go as far as saying that it was the most challenging game that we played. Much more challenging and physical more than the Newcastle game, and also the Liverpool game. I think the one thing that they had, or rather, which they got right tactically, they were not scared of us. I can say that, in a sense that they kept on countering us, and they were very physical. I think their physicality allowed them to sort of balance the game in a way, because we also had to come up with ways in which we can get back in the game. And the the mentality that Shaka is fueling those guys, I think it's also making a huge difference in a way, because you can tell that those guys are not playing just to survive relegation. They are actually fighting for the badge. They go into each and every game. They are playing like they believe that they can get something out of the game. As to whether it's a draw, it's a win, or whatever it is that they might get, I think um, him him going into that game, as much as I didn't like the fact that he was also very um, loud, or rather, he was also very commanding in the field, and the fact that he used to be one of our captains. I think it's just a matter of also understanding the fact that he also need to do what he has to do. But yeah, um, it was good when he did that versus the people that we were playing when he was still with us, but not so nice when he's doing it with our team, or rather versus our players. And I think Saka had a good game. I think he needed that goal a lot more. Just to the point that you were asking prior before we touch onto this game. The issue that I'm also picking up with Saka might be two things. For the most part of Arteta's tenure, Saka has been the standout player. He's been the guy who's been carrying us through and through. And the last few injuries that he's been getting, I think, might also be getting to him as well. Maybe he might be a bit more um, playing it a bit safe than he used to, because now he also don't want to be in a situation wherein he's missing out on the bigger part of a potential title winning season. I think that can also be another influence that might also be playing out psychologically on his end as well. I feel Zubimendi also was very, very, very impactful. I think he also gave us that physical edge, in a sense wherein, as much as they were physical, we also made it a point that we are not bossed around in that midfield. I think for me, he would have been the standout player for me.
Thanks, Renai. What's your thoughts, Michael? I see that the XG was 0.9 for Sunderland and 2 for us. So we kind of didn't overperform or underperform on our XG, but they pretty much overperformed on theirs. It's annoying because that was the theme of last season, where teams had low XGs and would score 1 or 2 goals against us. So what's your thoughts on that, the conceding of those 2 goals?
Yeah, like I said, I thought Sunderland were really competitive in this match. Like Bruno said, they matched us toe-to-toe pretty much. And Shaka was in the middle of that as well. I've gained a lot of respect for him over the past few years, even while he was still at us. Considering what I used to think of him some time ago, he was really not a player I liked at all. Under Arteta, he really just stepped up, especially not just in the figurative sense. I mean, like literally, when he was not in front of our backline, he was a much better player. I think that it was a really competitive game. I think the XG, I don't know. On the balance of watching it, I thought that it was pretty fair. If you get chances and you finish the way that they do, I can't hold that against you. There have been games where we've had tons of chances and we've failed to put anything away. So if you get two chances like that, like half chances really, and you put them away in the way that they do, you've got to respect that, I think. The Bella chance is interesting because I don't know what does VAR do in that situation? Do they check? Can they go back to that foul and actually, or once it's a dead ball, they can't. They just have to let that next phase of play out. It's a strange thing to me because it clearly was not a foul, and Zubimendi also got a card for that.
Michael?
Oh, I don't know what to do about that actually. Let me see if I can change my Wi-Fi.
Yeah, no, I don't know about VAR. It's very confusing for me. If you know more than I about VAR.
I've seen instances, I think it was last season, if not season before last. I just cannot remember the game, but I've seen situations where they actually went back as far as where the foul started, and it ended up affecting the overall goal. So I don't know as to why it was not checked in that instance, because I also didn't believe that was a foul. Honestly.
Yeah, it was a crazy decision. I don't know how. Yeah, I don't know what else to say about it. But that being said, I think that Ballard took that goal really, really well. From that knockdown, I think looking back at it, maybe Rice should have been on him a bit quicker after the knockdown. But I can't take anything away from that finish. It's really good. And
something very interesting. Something very interesting that I saw on the stats that you were sharing, Dayne. I saw the amount of their final third entries. Can we check the previous games and see as to whether we've had so much traffic within our final third apart from that game? Because I saw they had about 29 entries into our final third.
Yeah, it's a good point. I don't think we've had that much of an attacking force against us. Yeah, so I think that is something that is worth being concerned about, and I think we'll probably see us playing more pragmatically against Spurs today than we have in recent times, where we've been more attacking. I see the first half being a chess match, and then the second half we kind of will attack more.
So I think. Sorry.
Yeah, sorry. Go for it.
No, I was just gonna say. Actually, you know what? Carry on. I'll comment if you have anything else.
Sorry, Michael. I just lost you there. Can you say it again?
Sorry. I said you can actually carry on. I'll just comment if you have any specific things you want to talk about.
Can you guys hear me? Well, I just changed my Wi-Fi. I think it was my Wi-Fi that was not great.
Okay. Yes.
Loud and clear.
Yeah.
Okay, good. Let's go on to the Liverpool game.
Okay.
So the Tottenham game. Yeah, but if you want to chat, okay. I was just go for it. Last comment, then we can move.
Before you jump forward, I did, considering how we got back into that game, Trossard scored a fantastic goal in that game, and I think it's worth pointing out.
Oh yes, yeah.
But but I do do worry a little bit, considering how many points we dropped last season from winning positions, that we don't fall into that same trap again at about, I think it was 88 minutes or something. Eze was taken off, rightfully so, I think. And maybe I think talking about Eze is also maybe something worthwhile. I found him to be a bit underwhelming in some recent performances. I think he's struggled to keep up with the pace of the rest of the team at times. But he's like one of those special something players. He can pop up and do something special. But I do think that there's a fair bit of room for growth for him in the team. But just to say that Arteta took him off and brought on Mosquera, and I don't know that was the right decision at that time in the game. For me personally, I feel like when you have the momentum with you, and I think we did lose the momentum a bit after we went ahead. We did kind of rest on that, like Renai was saying, the solidity of our defense, right? Come at us, we know we've got what it takes, and it took a kind of special moment from Robbie to score that goal. And I know there was a lot of talk about Raya being off his line and stuff, so that is something. But we know that this is what Raya does, right? He comes off his line. But just that, I fear and I hope that going forward we don't kind of slip into that same idea of, okay, we're ahead now, we can just relax, let them come at us. We have. I know, like in that particular match, I was not angry at the result by any means. I think that considering how we went behind and how Sunderland were playing, we did quite well to get back into it, to even get ahead. And I thought that they were worth a draw definitely in that game. And considering the injuries that we have at the moment, I can see Arteta's frustration and like, what do I do here? I can't even say maybe we should have brought on Nwaneri, because I think the pace of the game might have been a bit, or the intensity might have been a bit too high for him to come in and be effective. Same with Dalman as well. Norgaard's not going to give us much going forward. I can't even remember if he was on the bench. So up front, I do think we're in a bit of a sketchy situation at the moment, especially in the front line. And if we do end up in these situations where a team is coming against us and we need to get out, especially later in the game when we have tired legs, I worry that and it's so upsetting because we have all the people to do it. Like the squad it's the right size, it's got the right quality, but these injuries they're starting to pile up now, and that's a bit concerning.
It is a concern, and I also want to come back to Eze point, because I did mention it on the group as well, is that I think Eze is not coping with playing twice a week. I think he's fine, but he's just not playing well for the whole game. Like, he plays well in the first half generally, or he will play well in the second half, but I haven't seen him play well for a whole game, and I think that's a fitness thing. I don't think it's a quality thing. I don't think it's a chemistry thing. I think it's more of a fitness thing, and that's why I'm not worried about it. His fitness will improve, because with Palace he played one game a week most of the time, unless there was a cup game for the domestic cup. So I'm not worried about it, but it is a slight concern. The same with what we were talking about soccer. The soccer form is a slight concern, but I do think they will do better when we've got more options to rotate them with. And I think I'm also not worried about the going behind thing. I know we did it last season, but I think it was more a lack of squad depth. And like you said, him bringing on Mosquera wasn't the best, but we didn't have a lot of other options. So I'm not too worried about the result. I think we are looking better today, and if we do go behind, or if we lose a lead, then it'll be more damning because we've got a better team available. Oh, yes, Greg. Greg.
How's it, guys? I'm so sorry about that. Got 50 million curveballs in the meantime, but yeah, good to be here.
All good, bro. I hope you hit one or two of the curveballs at the park with a home run.
I did.
Good. Were you with Ryan earlier? But he said he was with Greg, but I don't know if it was another Greg.
Yeah, I was with him. I saw him earlier. Shame when he left, he wasn't feeling too great. So yeah, it was sad to hear that.
Yeah, he's got a stomach issue, so that's why he didn't join us today. But anyway, we're talking about the Spurs game. We've been talking about the last two games with Slavia and Sunderland, but let's go on to the Spurs game and kind of look forward to that game and look at who's potentially coming back from injury. It looks like that on the walk out, the Fury was there, Martinelli was there, Odegaard was there, and Madueke was there. So it's looking like they will likely to play maybe 30 minutes, 40 minutes, but not a full game. But I think the one that could play a full game is Calafiori because he has played more recently than any of them and has just had a knock that kept him out of the two Italy games. What's your thoughts, Renai, on the starting lineup and on Thomas Frank? I think he's done well since he's come in. I mean, Spurs were leaking goals like crazy last season, and they've been much more solid this season. And what's your thoughts on him? I know that they've also got a very good away record, and we've got a very good home record. So it's an away record versus a home record. And what's your expectations? What do you think the score will be? Let's all give our score predictions. Mine is a 1-0. I think it would have been 2-0 if it wasn't for Michael Oliver being the ref. So I'm feeling less confident that we will. I have a feeling we're going to have a disallowed goal, or we're not going to get a penalty, and that's because of Michael Oliver. So anyway, that's my conspiracy / not conspiracy theory out the way. But what's your thoughts, Renai, on the game?
Well, considering that is a derby, for the most part, I think we just need to make peace with the fact that there is a lot at stake when a derby game is concerned. And normally form tend to speak very little to the outcome of the game because there's a whole lot of things at stake. There's the pride at stake. There's a rivalry that will be another thing to look into. So looking into how we've been playing and how they've been playing, I think it will be a very interesting game. But it will be a game of moments. The team that gets to take their chances will then win the game. But I think pretty much if I was Thomas Frank, what I would do, I would be approaching the game almost similar Sunderland approach the game and try and not concede as much as we can and counter as much as possible. So it will be a very balanced game. And I think I'm not sure if Gyökeres is back from injury, but if he is, I would be starting him. I would start with Merino as a 9, and Saka obviously would start. He's got a very good record against Spurs for the I think for the past 2-3 seasons he's been scoring almost each initial game that we played against Spurs. But other than that, I wouldn't really change much. The one thing that I would go for, I would definitely start with the Merino up front as the striker. Madueke is fit. I would also give him some minutes. I'm sure he would want to prove a point as well. But it will be a very balanced game wherein I'm expecting Spurs to also cause us a lot of trouble, but we should easily win it because the more they will be coming at us, they will allow us to be able to play up front.
No, definitely, bro. Those are good thoughts. What's your thoughts, Greg? We're nice to hear from you. What's your thoughts on the North London derby? And
Yeah, look, I wish. I think all Gunners wish that Mr. Ange Postecoglou is still at the helm of that ship. I think walking into the match today, we'd be licking our lips, going, "Oh, I feel like a 4-0 coming on. That's going to be great." I think, just to echo your thoughts, I think that Thomas Frank's done a pretty good job since he's come in. I think he's definitely steadied that ship quite a bit. Done well to tidy up the mess that Ange left. just as well they didn't give him a couple of seasons like United gave Ten Hag to just completely destroy that squad from a personnel point of view. So yeah, at least it's he's kind of made it work with what he's got. I think when I saw Ryan earlier, we were talking about the fact that it seems to us that Spurs have like a great week, and then they pitch up and they're like a completely different team. They have a shocker. So it's kind of a lucky package. You don't really know what you're going to get at the moment. It's not like they're terrible in form, or it's not like they're great in form. It's kind of like up and down. You just don't know what type of team's going to arrive on the day. I think that the North London derby, players always sort of pick themselves up in a different way and arrive with a different sort of, I use the word swagger about them. They kind of pull up their socks a little bit and perform on a slightly higher level. That all having been said, I still see us winning today. I really don't see us not. My score prediction is 2-0. I think we'll get 2 goals in. I think they won't leak goals. I don't think it'll be a massive score, but I definitely think we'll take the win, and I think it'll be fairly comfortable.
Oh, thanks, Greg. What's your thoughts, Michael? How are you feeling about the game?
I think he left by accident.
Oh, okay. Let's go to who do you think will be the goal scorers, Renai?
I didn't get the question. I think I don't know if it's my network, but I keep on losing you guys.
Hello?
I was just saying, who do you think?
Oh, sorry about that.
No worries, Michael.
Yeah.
Did you hear what I said? I said
Yeah.
Did you leave the stage but instead of unmuting? Is that what happened?
Huh? No. I opened the chat and I pressed back to exit the chat. I'm using my
Oh, it does that.
and it exited the whole thing.
It does that. It's very annoying. It's very annoying. Anyway, what's your thoughts on the NLD?
I'm cautiously optimistic. I think we have enough to beat them. I am very worried that Big Gabby is injured and not around. From what we saw of Nkapie against was it against Slavia? I think that he's got some good qualities to him. I don't know what's going to happen there on that left side. Does Mosquera come in? Is it going to be Nkapie, Calafiori? There's a lot of options that are there. So I feel like maybe whatever happens in this game may depend on that, because I think Brennan Johnson, he's a weird player to me. Like when I watch him play, it's like this guy is so useless, but then he gets goals, and then I don't know. I'm always surprised by that guy, and I feel like if we're not looking at that side, we may get punished by maybe something coming from the other side and him just being completely unmarked on that side. I do think Marino up front is a good idea, and I would go, if I had to make a prediction, I'd say maybe a 1-0. But I do think we have to win today, especially with the results from yesterday. It's a chance to start creating a gap.
Definitely. It's vital. I think we're going to talk about other fixtures later, but we can mention them briefly now. I mean, I think the City lost to Newcastle and the Liverpool lost. I think Liverpool are pretty much out of the title race, and I think Chelsea are more viable now as a title rival because they're 6 points behind us. They're 3 points behind us, so we got to get 6 points ahead of them if we win today. So it's a must win. And I really am confident. I'm worried about Gabby more actually offensively because he's so dangerous on corners that I think like Spurs were quaking in their boots thinking about Big Gabby, and now he's not there. So, I mean, he's got 2 man of the match performances in North London derbies, which is amazing. So, Big Gabby is a big miss, but I think defensively Mosquera will do the job, or Hincapie. But I have a feeling it'll be Mosquera. So, it's my biggest thing is it going to be MLS, or is it going to be Kala? And I think so. We've got a message here from Daryl Lewis. I think it's going to be KG lads. Expect Spurs to send plenty hopeful balls into our box. They always turn up for a derby, but so do we. Yeah, no, it's a good point. Thanks, Daryl. Thanks for the comments. Any other comments? We'd love to hear from you. I think it's a big one, and I think everyone is also worried about kind of the run of games we have, because we've got Bayern Munich and then Chelsea. So it's almost like we have to, and I think we are going to have a weaker team against Bayern, and we probably will play for a draw against Bayern, because beating the 2 London teams is more important. I have a feeling we're going to really go for it against Spurs and Chelsea. Whereas Bayern are the form team in Europe, and if we drop maybe 2 points there, we're still probably going to get in the top 8 of the Champions League anyway. So I see us possibly, kind of looking at those balances and trying to balance out where we put our energy. Let's look at some of the other games. Anyone else want to talk about the North London derby? Or can we move on to Bayern and the Chelsea games? Okay, let's move on. So Bayern are the form team in Europe. They've got the best attack. We've got the best defense. So that's going to be a cracker. And we've obviously, I think we'd like to put more energy into the game, more emotionally, because of how emotionally damaging Bayern has been to us over the last few years. They knocked us out of the Champions League in 23-24. They gave us the 10-2 aggregates about 10 years ago. So I think it's an emotional thing that we feel about Bayern, but I think like they're going to be fresh. Their league is very much easier compared to ours, and I just have a feeling we need to focus on the league and a domestic cup this year. I wanted us to focus on the Champions League because I thought the reffing is better, and it's only 15 to 17 games that you have to potentially win, and then the league is like you have to win about 25 to 30 games. So I was thinking it would be better to focus on the Champions League, but it looks like the league is now, there's like this opportunity. So you've got to take that opportunity in front of you. And I'm much more confident about us winning the league. So what are your guys' thoughts on the Champions League? How's it looking so far? And what do you feel about the Bayern game, Renai?
The Bayern game, I think it can do us a lot of good if we are to win that game. Mentally, for our squad to start even believing more that they can be the first crop of players that can bring the European title at the Emirates. At the moment, they are the team to beat. They are a team to beat, and us winning against them would be a statement. And also, it would mean that everyone that we will be playing in the Champions League from there onwards will be very much worried about us. And obviously, mentally, if you are in a position where they feel that you are a team that can beat anyone at any given time, it sort of gives you a bit of an advantage in a way in which the team shape up and how they structure playing you. So I think for us, I understand that it might be a draining game in a way in which it can also sort of destabilize the manner in which we want to approach the league. But us winning against Bayern has a lot more good than any harm that we might get by allowing ourselves to go there with a weaker team, or rather play for a draw or not go all out to try and get a win. So equally, I think we are in a position where we can do a double for the Champions League and the league. It's very, very, very difficult to achieve that. But we are in a position where our depth allows us to be able to do all of that. And we just need to also start taking advantage of the fact that the people that would be giving us that run, or that would ordinarily give us a run for our money as far as the league is concerned, they are not doing so well. So us taking advantage and opening up the gap there allows us to be in a position wherein we are going into matches without having a lot of pressure. So I would honestly want us to go for a win for the Bayern game, and also for all time's sake. I mean, these are one of the teams which used to batter us so much so that whenever you see a Bayern versus Arsenal, you are already stressed because you know that it's not gonna be a nice outcome altogether. So yeah, that's my 2 cents on that. I think going for a win has a lot more to benefit us in the long run, and also it also leaves us as the most threatening team in Europe, because currently that's how Bayern are viewed by almost everyone. I mean, they are on a very impressive run at the moment where they are winning non-stop. So us stopping that train would say a lot more about us than it would do to them.
No, those are good points. I just want to go to some of the comments here. So Rudy Peterson said, is the Bayern game a knockout league basis? And then you said later on, UCL knockout or league. No, it's a league game. So we've got 8 league games before the round of 16, and then the quarterfinals and semifinals. So it's not a knockout. So that's why we can afford to draw it. And I hear what Renai is saying. I just think that with the amount of injuries that we've had, we can't afford to get more injuries against Bayern. So I think it's pragmatic to play for a draw. And we could easily do it. I think we could easily get a draw and focus on beating Chelsea, because Chelsea are our title rivals. And I think it's a more important game to win against Chelsea away. If we can win against Chelsea away, I don't know. I also don't feel scared about facing Bayern. Even if they do beat us, they won't beat us by a lot. In previous seasons, it was so scary to face Bayern. And I think that's the other nice thing, is that even, with facing Chelsea away, that used to be a scary fixture as well. Now it's not a scary fixture. So I think going back to the Sunderland game, that was the best team we've played this season, including Man City and Liverpool, is that Sunderland team was really good. So let's go to some other comments here. We've got Hussein, who said Bayern will be a tough game, but we need to beat the best to be the best in the tournament. I agree. And then he said it again. So basically a similar comment as before. And what's your thoughts, Greg, on Bayern? How do you feel about it? And do you feel confident, like Renai, that we can win both big tournaments, or are you feeling more confident for the league and maybe the domestic cup?
To echo his thoughts in terms of squad depth, like I said the last time I was on the cast, Arsenal of almost every single previous season versus now, we have such depth in every position. And just even thinking back to last season, an injury to or even 2-3 seasons ago, an injury to Odegaard meant disaster, absolute disaster. We were distraught about that. Not that we're not upset about it now, but we've got players that can step into that role and perform to his level, maybe even slightly better. So the squad depth that we have at the moment in every position, world-class players, and a very, very good coach who's proven himself. And a lot of rival fans that I chat to go down this rabbit hole of trophies. Arsenal have arguably been the most consistent team. I mean, we were 18 seasons in a row. We were finishing top 4. That's nothing to be sniffed at. Sure, we don't have the silverware to prove it, or the silverware in our trophy cabinet to sort of hold up and be like, "Ooh, we got this trophy!" Wow, wow. But consistency, the consistency of our squad, the consistency of our team has been up there. And now that we have the squad depth and we have a manager who, again, over the past couple of seasons, and I kept saying, the trophies will come. The performance is there, the culture's in the club. who would you rather have at the helm at the moment? I mean, Pep Guardiola is an incredible coach. I might take him over Arteta, but I don't think there's anyone else in world football who I'd rather have managing Arsenal at this point. And yeah, I think he's created a culture. He's got the squad depth now, and my sentiment is, why not? Why not? I mean, last season we beat Real Madrid in both legs, and they're arguably the best team in the entire world consistently. You know, winning UCLs over and over and over again. They've won 15 now. So who says we can't go all the way? I was actually going to correct you now. You know, when that guy was asking about the Bayern game being a knockout, and you said we play league games, 8 league games in the table, and then we go into knockouts, and you said quarters and then semis, but you didn't say finals. So I wanted to say and then finals. So yeah, look, why not? Why can we not go the entire way? We've got the depth, we've got players. You know, there's a good balance of experience and youth in the squad at the moment. You know, if you look across the park, we've got players that can step in full roles. I mean, again, we're talking about Mosquera now coming in today, North London derby, filling Gabby's shoes. And yes, maybe he's not the attacking threat at a corner that Gabby is, but defensively, it's like he's doing the job. So, you know, I mean, are we really stressed out that our back line is now super weak because we've got Gabby out? Not really, you know.
Yeah, those are good points, Greg. And I want to. It kind of links to the comment that we have on the screen, is that we beat PSG last year in the league phase of the Champions League and then lost to them in the semi-finals. So Daryl is right. We got to peak at the right time in the Champions League, and I do feel we haven't even peaked in the league yet. We are in like second or third gear at the moment in the league. So when we have more players back from injury and we are combining better and we are attacking better, I mean, we're just defending so well, and that's why we've got our top of the league. So we're not even, you know, that high on open play XG charts and goal charts. So we've scored a lot of our goals from set plays. So when we finally click, then the league is going to be in trouble. And the Champions League will also be in trouble when we click, because we haven't really clicked attacking-wise. We've clicked defensively. Defensively, we are the best team in Europe. We're the best team in the world defensively. But Bayern are definitely the best team attacking-wise. So that's why it's going to be a fascinating game. And I just wanted to read the last part here. So Mikel Arteta will expect us to win versus Spurs, Bayern, and Chelsea. So I'm going to try and do an impersonation now. The Forganer standards. Yeah, so thanks, Daryl, for the comment there. Let's go to another comment from Rudy. He says that, what's with Arsenal and injuries at crucial times this season? Do we have a long-time curse or Muti against us? I mean, it's a good comment. I know that I've spoken about this before, and I believe it's a three kind of fold thing, is that actually fourfold. The first one was in the previous 3 seasons, we have rotated our squad the least out of the top 6 teams. So we've played some of the players like Saka and Rice have played massive amount of minutes. They've played the highest minutes in the league easily over those last 3 seasons. So that's the one thing. That's not having a big enough squad, but also Arteta not trusting the squad that we did have enough at times. So that's the one aspect. Then the second aspect is when we were winning games, like we weren't bringing off Saka and we weren't bringing off other people in the time when we could have done so. So that's Arteta not rotating. And then the other one is the medical team. We've got to question the medical team. There's something clearly not right with the hamstrings that we've had. And then the third team is just bad luck. The fourth thing is bad luck. So it's multifactorial, and I don't like it when fans just say, oh, it's just the medical team, and then they want to blame the medical team only, or it's all Arteta. So I just think it's fair to have a kind of a balanced approach to these issues and look at them as multifactorial. But I do think there needs to be questions asked about our medical team. I think Arteta's doing better with rotation, so he's improved there, and we've got a bigger squad. So the other things have been kind of dealt with, but the medical team hasn't necessarily been dealt with. So yeah, and then just Hussein responded to Rudy. He said, "This has been coming for a long time. I think that our squad depth will pull us through." And then he said, "So we're having a nice chat with Rudy and Hussein in the comments. I'm hoping that the department we have in the squad will stand us in good stead this year, as it was our curse during the last 3 years." And then Hussein asked, "Who do you think will start in the big Gabby position against the Spurs today? Are we playing Mosquera or Hincapié?" So, Michael, did you mention who you think would start? I don't think I remember you talking about that.
I was more asking that same question because I'm
you
also
also-
not sure. I'm also not sure because, like I said, the little bit I've seen of Hincapié has been looked pretty good. But Mosquera, whenever he's needed to play, I've been very impressed with him. He looks.
I think he's going to go Mosquera. Just game time. He's been on the park more. He's going into a North London derby. I mean, look, at the end of the day, you could put Hincapié in, but in terms of game time and just being on the park with the squad, I really do see Mosquera getting the spot today to start at the very least.
I think also on that, I don't think from what I've seen, I don't think Arteta normally uses players that he considers left backs in centre back positions. I rarely see him do that, especially in the past couple of seasons. And I get the feeling that he wants Hincapié as more of a left back, which is interesting in itself because we have MLS. Calafiori has been playing quite well there, and Hincapié has options there. So I don't know if he sees him as a centre back option at all yet.
I think he was bought as both, cover for both, because he played left centre back and left back for Bayer Leverkusen. But he obviously has only played left back for us, so it's a good question. But I think
I think that.
Sorry, just to finish the point. Is that I don't think MLS will play much other than left back, inverting left back. And I think, to be fair on MLS and him signing a new contract, I think there's probably an agreement that Hincapié will play left centre back and left back. Hincapié can overlap apparently very nicely, but then it would mean Timber wouldn't overlap like he has been, and he would invert, and then. Because MLS is not really an overlapping centre back. I mean, a left back is more of an inverting. So I think it's all about the balance and like where do we see a weakness? Do we see a weakness on a right back or a left back that is then we can exploit with an overload of a left back that overlaps or a left back that inverts where there's no. So it depends on the team we play against. And with Hincapié, he can play both positions. I think we also just don't know if we haven't seen him enough.
Yeah. So the argument I would say for that is that I think the same was true of probably Timber and White as well, right? That they could both play at centre back as well, but we've never really ever seen that. Even when we were missing centre backs, both Saliba and Gabby were injured at times, and we never saw that happen.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I agree, bro. What's your thoughts, Renai, on... Let's go to the next game. Let's go to the Chelsea game. Renai, what's your thoughts on the Chelsea game? They've been looking better recently. I think their form is they've won 6 games in a row, I think. Is that correct? No. They've won a lot of their games recently. It was not...
Yeah, I think I mentioned this in the beginning of the season that I was a lot more scared of Chelsea than I was with Liverpool. Obviously, the factors that I was looking at the time were factors such as coming from winning the Club World Cup. I thought it was going to be a booster for them, but obviously they didn't start as well as we thought they would, given the run they had in the Club World Cup. But I still see them as a team that we will definitely need to win. If there is a game that we really, really need to win, it's against Chelsea, because then it will allow us a breathing space away from them. The games that they have coming up, if I saw someone sharing this on Twitter yesterday, if I'm not mistaken. They don't really have a challenging run as much as we do. So I think it will be very, very important that we neutralize them before they can get a momentum that can be disruptive in a way. Because as things stand, a bit of a distance away from City. Never mind about Liverpool, but it would be very, very well us and anyone who's as close as possible. Yes, understandably so, they might also drop points. But where we can also dictate the gap that we have with the team that is chasing us, I think it's one opportunity that we cannot afford to let go of. It's a must-win game for me. That's non-negotiable. And if anything, worst case, we cannot afford to be dropping points.
Yeah. I just want to quickly mention that Daryl is in England and he's one of the ex-South African guys who's living in England at the moment, and he's going to be watching the game at the Emirates. He says he's arrived at the Emirates, couple of pints at the pub, and then into the madness. He's predicts us winning 3-1 today. So nice to hear from you, Daryl. Thanks for joining us. And yeah, I think those are good things to think about. I think Chelsea are dangerous, and I think that they've got a big squad. I think there's something about having that amount of players, and they've actually been performing well without Palmer. So we used to call them Cole Palmer FC, but now they are back to being Chelsea FC. So they actually have been getting more points with him lately than when he's been playing this season. So it's quite an interesting stat. But he likes to be injured when we are playing him. So I think he's scared to be compared to Saka. And then, Chelsea, those long ball over the top, Neto long-range shots. Other than Esteva, I don't see them losing against Chelsea. Yeah, Esteva is a threat. Neto is all over the show. His ratings, he'll have like a good game and then he'll have a bad game and then he'll have a good game and then he'll have another bad game. So he's not consistent, but he did score against us in the last game we played against them. So, so Daryl says he's not an ex-South African. My blood is always green. Oh, okay. So tell us where you're from, Daryl. I thought you were South African. Are you British? Maybe I hadn't spoken to you enough to understand. I thought you'd moved. I thought you were connected to the South African groups from this side, and then you moved that side. Anyway, what's your thoughts on Chelsea, Greg? How are you feeling about the Chelsea game?
Yeah, I think we've done well the past couple of seasons of the bridge. I stand to be corrected, but in my memory, we've done fairly well there. And we haven't lost to Chelsea for a long time. So again, quietly confident going into it again. I'm not seeing enough problems in our club at the moment. I'm not seeing enough stress about our structure. I'm not seeing enough injury concern that gives me any reason to doubt us winning that game. I'm forever the optimist. So, as I'm sure you can tell, I just don't see enough to be sitting here going, oh, look, I mean, one could argue we are playing at the bridge, eh?
Yeah.
Yeah, one could argue playing it, but again, like we haven't struggled there the last couple of seasons. So there's just not enough reason to go into the game thinking to yourself, I mean, playing at the bridge, couple of injuries. Will Gabby be ready for it? Will he be back in time? Who knows? But I just don't see enough to say. Again, I don't think it'll be a walk in the park. I also don't see us losing.
No, that's good points. Just this nice comment came from Eugene, who's also one of the podcast panelists that we have sometimes. He said he saw that Chelsea rested a few players yesterday, including Caicedo ahead of their clashes with Barca and Arsenal. So they obviously are looking towards those fixtures. let's move on from Chelsea. We've got Brentford after that. So we actually don't leave London because we're playing Spurs today at Arsenal at Emirates. Then we're playing Bayern at the Emirates. Then we're playing Chelsea at Stamford Bridge. And then we're playing Brentford at home. So we don't leave London the next 4 games. So we got Brentford, and they're obviously without Thomas Frank, and they've lost Wissa, and they've lost Mboimo. So I expect us to beat them quite comfortably, even though they have been playing well this season and have got some good results. I do expect us to beat them with a few goals. So I'm not too worried about them. Any thoughts on the Brentford game, Renai or Michael? What's your thoughts? I just want us to go a bit quicker through these next few games.
Yeah, no particular thoughts. I think apart from these next few games, we need to just start making winning a bit of a habit, like doing the nitty-gritty of it and just winning the games that we should be winning. And I think that this is one of those kind of games.
Yeah.
Hopefully we should have a few players back as well, so that should boost us by then.
Yeah. No, that's true. And what's your thoughts, Renai, on Brentford?
I echo what Michael is saying. I think it's just a matter of. I think this would be this next round of fixtures are the most important fixtures that we will need to put to bed. While everyone else seems to be struggling, it's very, very important that you set the pace. And obviously, we know that as much as we have the squad depth, as much as we are very solid defensively, there would be those games where, regardless of how good you are just unlucky in the day and you will throw points. So while we have the luxury of trying to put a lot of games to bed, let's do that while everyone else has dropped momentum, because that way it would give us a nice buffer to be able to make those inevitable mistakes that might come along the way. So I think those are some of the games that we just need to make sure that we put to bed. I've always said, even in previous seasons, if you can check the way in which we came short as far as winning the title is concerned, we didn't win or we didn't lose out on winning the league because of we were disrupted by the big guys. The smaller teams have always been those that were stealing points there and there that end up putting us in a situation where now we have to hold on to our calculators and be mathematical with how we approach games. So I think it's just a matter of trying to put as many games to bed as much as you can, especially now that there isn't really a clear contender that is catching enough form. No disrespect to Chelsea, but prior 2 games back, no one ever mentioned them as a potential title team or title chasing team. Everyone was saying that City is back. They would be the one that would be chasing us all the way. So I think it's just a matter of trying to stretch the gap as much as possible.
Yeah, I agree. Good points. I think what I'm going to do is we're not going to go through all the games. I'm actually going to. I thought we'd have a podcast in 3 weeks' time, but I think I realized I thought I had some church commitments, but I realized those have actually slowed down at the end of the year. So we can have a pod in 2 weeks. So we'll just preview the Aston Villa game and then stop there and then go into the players of the month for October. So let's preview the Aston Villa game, which is away, which I'm actually more worried about out of all the fixtures that we have coming up, because Aston Villa have been a difficult team for us to play in the last few seasons. In the last 4 fixtures, we've got 1 victory against them. So Unai likes to stick it to us, and he's very tactically astute. So he plays a physical mid-block against us, and we tend to struggle against mid-blocks. So, yeah, I wanted to hear your thoughts. Greg, what's your thoughts on Aston Villa? I saw you nodding your head there.
Yeah, some very good points there from you. As usual, yeah, look, like you very well said, 1 win in the last 4 games. Bit of an Achilles heel. Bit of a stressful one. You see, I mean, compared to the Chelsea game, I walk into that Aston Villa game going, "Oh, okay, this one's a little bit on a seesaw. Which way is it going to go? Are we going to get a very tight win? Is it going to be a draw?" I just don't feel like that going into the Chelsea game at the Bridge. So in comparison, I also don't feel that way about Brentford either. They are a good side. This comment that we've had here from one of the listeners, Brentford is tough. Honestly, Igor Zago is in the form of his life. We need a very good defensive performance against them. I mean, even there, going into that Brentford game, quite confident. But Aston Villa, like you said, Unai likes to stick it to us. I think he's going to come hot. I think it's going to be an interesting one. Aston Villa, last couple of seasons, been a bit of a tough one for us. Again, quietly confident. Again, feel like we can get the job done. Again, feel like we've got it in us. Again, there's no real highlighting factors that say, oh, no. But look, I mean, by the time that game's rolling around, let's see where we're at. Let's see, what type of, if we do have any injuries, touch wood. Hopefully we don't. But, let's see what happens.
Awesome. Michael, what's your thoughts on Aston Villa?
Yeah, I think it's pretty clear that Unai has something personal against us. So, and understandably so. So I think he brings out the best that he can out of his team for some reason against us. But I feel this season has been different so far. It's felt different for me personally. I know we started the season weirdly enough with Greg and Renai and you and I here. I think we're missing Tim. Had that discussion about Arteta at the beginning of the season, and I'll say that this season I think he's done, like a lot of the criticisms that I had of him coming into the season, I think he's done really well to address those things, specifically like rotation, game management. I think he's been much better at that this season, and also that we can see that the squad is made to be what he needs it to be at the moment, which I think is working out really well for us. And so, like Greg said, I think at this point in the season, I'm feeling fairly confident. I feel like we should just go and beat everyone. Like I said, Sunderland was particularly difficult. But I think when I look at man for man in our team, I don't think there's many teams that can compete with the quality of the squad that we have. And so I'm going into games kind of, like I said, cautiously optimistic, but there's a confidence there for sure that things are under control. It looks like the players are behind what's going on. The rotation, like I said, has been good. The management of player fitness and stuff, I think, has been much better this year. Even though we have these injuries, I think this season it seems a bit more like maybe it's just bad luck and fixture intensity and stuff like that. I don't think anyone is really in particular to blame for that at the moment. But I think also the right players will come back at the right time when we need them. And I'm also really keen to see what a player like Jesus, who's been out for ages, is going to come in and do. Hopefully he doesn't come in and just get injured again immediately. But I'm sure he's got a lot of stuff within himself that he's going to want to prove the second he steps onto a pitch. And I'm keen to see what that is. I think it'll give us a bit of a boost.
Yeah, good point about Jesus. Jesus, I don't know how you say it, I forgot now. Just wanted to go back to this comment here about Villa Park from Eugene. He said that we might miss Gabriel the most there, but more defensively, I think, because they're going to attack us a lot. But he's right. We've done well against the Hoodoo teams so far this year. And the Hoodoo teams are Newcastle, Fulham, and Villa, and West Ham. And we've beaten 3 of those Hoodoo teams, and now it's just our turn to give Villa their comeuppance. So I think those are the best tests because those are all physical mid-blocks that we've faced and done well against. So we've obviously changed our tactics with buying a player like Eze who dribbles more, who can break down the mid-block and shoots from distance. And then we've also added Gyökeres because he's dragging 2 defenders and opening up space on the top of the box because he's occupying 2 defenders. So I think there are better options against these physical mid blocks, and now we're facing more low blocks. I mean, even low blocks. So it's it is encouraging against Villa. So let's go to chat about Player of the Month. I don't know if there's mention the Player of the Month for October for Arsenal. You're not sure.
Are you asking for suggestions?
Yeah, well, we can give suggestions, but have they done the poll and have they chosen a player for October?
Oh, I'm not sure.
Okay, let me just Google it. Otherwise, just start sharing suggestions in the meantime.
Player of the month for October.
For Arsenal, it was Gabriel.
It was Gabriel.
Big Gabi.
Yeah. Oh, he was awarded.
Yeah.
No surprise there.
Yeah.
Agreed.
I think did what's the guy at United? Did Amorim win Manager of the Month for
He
the
did.
Premier League?
I
For
He
October?
did.
How on earth did that happen? We didn't concede any goals.
I think it's based
What
on the
is
fact
that?
that he's. I think it's based on the fact that he's turned around a horrific situation.
No,
Ah man.
no,
So I think
not really. I
give him
think
his flowers because
no, but I think it's also an issue where, given that United has been winning a couple of games, I'm sure they also voted a lot because I remember
Oh,
it's
yeah,
not
the
based
fan
on
base.
just
Right.
the fan base that will be voting. Obviously, when they
Right.
didn't lose a game, so I think
Yeah.
their fan base were too excited and they gave it to him. Yeah, I
They've all
mean,
come
I
back.
Yeah, it's a
I
popular
can tell
vote.
now. I mean, yeah, I mean, amongst the four of us now here, I know I didn't vote for Mikel,
That's true.
and I'm sure
That's true.
maybe you guys also didn't vote. So those are some of the things that also make a difference as well.
Mm. So it's all,
Renai, you're calling us
fair
out.
enough.
You're,
Yeah.
you're calling us out, Renai. I also didn't vote.
It's
So
it's true. It's true.
we must do
We
better.
can do better, guys.
Do better.
Dude.
Okay, so let's look at the Premier League Player of the Month, which was Brian Mbeumo. So Man United had a clean up with Amorim and Mbeumo. So what's your thoughts on... Actually, let's just talk a bit about United. We've talked about other rivals. I know they're not a rival for the title, but they have been playing better. They seem to have followed our model of, trusting a young manager with more tactical moves. Even though Amorim had such a disastrous start, he's starting to turn things around. Do you think that more teams will have more patience with young managers because of what has happened at Arsenal? Or do you think that the Chelseas of the world... I mean, Chelsea even had patience with Maresca. They normally would have fired someone like Maresca by now. They changed managers like they changed their underwear at Chelsea. So what's your thoughts on Arteta's influence in the league and his influence in Europe? Do you think he is influencing the league? Do you think he's influencing Europe? Greg?
100%. I think that, again, I keep going back to the culture. I keep going back to what Arteta's slowly but steadily built and brought in. It's more than just tactical knowledge and implementation and squad depth and squad management. It's more than that. It's a culture. It's a vibe. It's a presence. It's a system. It's a holistic outlook, broader than just. I always say football's a formula, and in order to win trophies, you need the right manager with the right players, with the right system, with the right background staff. It's all a formula. It's not down to just one thing. And a very pivotal part of that, a very main cog in that wheel, is the manager of the club, because ultimately he is dictating the shots to a very large extent. Look, he needs the right team around him. But it's like anything in life. Where things are well managed, things work. So you've got someone at the top who's managing well, that filters down the line and goes all the way down to the bottom rung. It's true of any institution, any company, any government, any organization, anything. If the top is rotten and not doing the right things, everything else falls apart. Everything else is a nightmare. You look at Bruno Fernandes, look at the United players that have now gone into other teams and are cleaning up in their respective teams. Ten Hag was managing all of them, got them into the club. The players were got rid of because they were seen to not be performing well. The whole system was toxic. They're now cleaning up at other clubs. What does that say? It says that the system was broken there. So of course, I think definitely Arteta and the system that he's built at Arsenal is definitely a model for other clubs. I think European football in general is definitely being influenced by his model, his defensive astuteness, his setups, the way that tactically he's playing the game, but more so again, the culture that he's brought is one of the very pivotal things in that wheel.
And talking about culture, did you guys hear there's going to be a tifo for the game today? So that's going to be exciting to see the tifo. So if those who don't know, tifos are what fans create with banners and making images with like things that are left on their seat, with flags, all sorts of drums, smoke. All of that is part of a tifo. So it's all about like a visual display from the fans. So we're praying and hoping that it's a better one than the one against PSG, which was a fail. But I know that there was an issue because Ashburton Army was using an AI-generated image, and there was copyright issues with Real Madrid's tifo. So they were trying to copy Real Madrid's tifo, and then they couldn't. So anyway, it's water under the bridge, and we're gonna do a nice tifo today and really, turn up tonight. I really am excited about that. And I'm in another Arsenal group with Tim, and he says he wants the Emirates to play Eubank Junior's walkout music, dim the lights of the stadium, and then shine a spotlight on the tunnel. Artworks Big Gabby in full kit.
It's a little difficult to do because there's no tunnel anymore.
Yeah, there's no tunnel anymore. True.
They should play that.
Gabby.
But
John Cena.
Just to comment on what Greg was saying, I think also when we had that conversation, and also when Arteta came into the club, my biggest issue was getting a manager with experience. And now when I see him managing the game, he seems like a manager with experience. And I think that also pays. And maybe there is value in investing in that and being patient with that for teams. But I guess at the end of the day, it depends on what the clubs like how urgently they need to achieve whatever it is they need to achieve.
Yeah, no, true. I think it all depends on the leadership. I mean, I think Arsenal have tended to be a club which has been more patient with managers. So we've got George Graham, who won the league, and then he wasn't doing well the next season, and then he won the league again. So we didn't fire George Graham when he kind of went down and then went back up again. Wenger we stuck with for a long time. So we've got a very different mentality to a Chelsea or a City. And I think that our lives have become so instant gratification. And I think that I was impatient. I wanted Arteta out after the 2021 season. It was, to come eighth and not win anything was really bad. But, we move and things are better now. And, I think we don't know what the future is going to hold. We didn't know that we'd get a Berta in and he would change our lives. We didn't know that Arteta would have such an influence on the whole club, not just the team. But as Greg was saying, he's, they plant trees and stuff for he's thinking about legacy stuff. He connected with the fans again, bringing Win the Dog in and the sports psychology that has been implemented. So there's a lot of things that Arteta has done, which I think we didn't see because it was behind the scenes. And the one thing I do love about him is he definitely loves the club, and I think that is evident. I think, we're going places, and it's really exciting. And I think when we win something this year, the club is going to be so united, because we've been very fractured as a fan base for the last 10, 15 years. And I think it's just going to be so good when we're all celebrating together and not having to like fight within our fan base and fight rivals. So it's just something that we deserve to have success, because we've fought battles in our fan base, and then we fought rivals and suffered under rivals' criticism. So I think that's a good place to end the stream, because we're going to be doing it in 2 weeks' time. We'll come back with more. I wanted to thank all the contributors for coming on today and sharing from your heart and sharing from your mind things that you've thought and felt about Arsenal. Let us go and smash those spuds today, make some mashed potatoes, and we'll see you again in 2 weeks. Thanks for checking out Mzansi Gunner's podcast from the Gunnercast SA podcast channel, and from all of us, we thank you for joining us. Cheers.
Sweet guys. Cheers.
Yeah, thank you so much. Thanks for the chat. It was great.